if it ever gets revealed that I called paparazzi myself, please use this interview. I'm like, Clara, you hypocrite, you idiot. Yeah, that was a really special gig. Yeah, memory unlocked with that one. You know, I've sat across like Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Ariana Grande, like whoever. I did Strictly, and all of a sudden my mum, oh, wow!
Now you've made it,
yeah.
This is Show on the Road, brought to you by Auto Trader. We're driving famous faces on a personalised road trip, visiting the places that help shape them and hearing how the locations turn them into who they are today. We've matched each celebrity with a car chosen specifically for them. So, join me, Alex Legui, as we get this show on the road. Today, I'm in South London, not far from Brixton, meeting BBC radio DJ and TV presenter Clara Amfo. We've matched her with a Ford Mustang Mach-E, which I'm hoping she will absolutely love, especially because it has an incredible Bang & Olufsen sound system, which should be right up her street. Let's see what she thinks.
Hello. All right.
Welcome.
Fancy.
It is the latest Ford, and it's a Mustang Mach-E.
It is very fab.
It is a cool car, and it has a ridiculous sound system. So that's what we thought, would be very Clara.
I'm all about great sound quality all day. I literally can't do anything in silence. I don't think I can. Whether it's on the way to work, in the shower, whatever, I always need music on, so I'm glad that there is a great sound system.
That's good. Yeah. And it's also it's got this acoustic glass, so it cuts all of the sound outside out. So if you do have your music on in here, it is proper sweet.
Fabulous.
Happy?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Should we go and have a mooch around the world of Clara Amfo?
Let's roll.
We're going to start at Brixton Market.
Fab.
So let's get the show on the road.
Lovely.
This is not obviously the car that you started your youth in. But it is a Ford.
It was a
Ford Sierra, right?
And I still remember the license plate to this day, which I probably won't repeat on here, but that red car, that was just such a staple in our childhood. Like, I remember actually drawing a picture of it, like, as a kid. Because, again, you don't think of, this is where I live. This is the car that my daddy drives, my mummy drives, whatever. And, but yeah, we loved that car. But my dad pretty much had it till it was, falling to pieces, because I've got a memory of it having brown tape on it. I think around the back, the rear license plate.
I think that's just a thing that you have to have on those old school cars as well. You keep it until it's dying. Did it have the old school tape deck as well and stuff like that?
I think so. For me, because that car, it definitely had old school radio. Yeah. Tuner thingy in it, because I think my dad got it because my dad passed away in 2015. He was driving loads in the early 2010s, 2000s or whatever, and the new car he got obviously had digital radio and stuff like that. But the Ford that we drove around in as kids, he'd tune it. He loved listening to classical music stations, but then local radio or whatever was on in the area that we'd be driving around in. But I flipping love that car, man.
You have quite a few siblings, don't you?
Yeah, I've got 4 brothers and 1 sister.
And were you travelling quite a lot?
Yeah, loads and loads, because we were brought up in Kingston. But it's a really interesting one, because I have this, even though I was raised there, I sort of was and I wasn't, in a weird sort of way, because pretty much every weekend we would drive to Brixton, Balham, Peckham, Tooting, basically all the south and all the south, east, west London is essentially how I was sort of raised by proxy in this car, going to visit relatives, because those are really heavily populated Ghanaian areas.
Yeah, okay.
And obviously my mum loves cooking Ghanaian food, and so those are the markets that we'd go to as kids, Brixton Market. I know the back of my hand. Brixton Tooting Market were the 2 main ones we go to as kids, so that we drive from Kingston every weekend to go there. So Mum would get bits and bobs for cooking family meals, and we just go and see relatives who are in those areas as well. So that was a lot of my sort of formative journey time. I honestly feel I spent, they say that you spend 90% of your life in bed or wherever. Yeah. I think I spent 90% of my childhood in that Ford Sierra. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
My parents came here in 1970. And, my dad came over here to study, and Mum came over here to work as well. And, they kind of found where there are people, obviously, like, they assimilated and, like, mix and match and met loads of, like, new people or whatever. But, of course, you know, you want that home from home.
Yeah.
Sort of things. Like, going to those areas was, like, really important for us. And I think it was really fundamental. So we never forgot, you know, like, where our parents came from, where we came from.
Yeah.
I almost kind of dread to think how I would be if we didn't do those trips and those journeys.
It's such formative years and formative times, isn't it? And I think there's something really bizarre about being in the car, sort of like what we're doing now, but where people end up talking about completely different things, don't they? And I think that's something. Car journeys bring out things in families, or, you know, in whoever's in the car. You end up doing some arguments, weird games, you know, stuff that you don't really sit down and do in the lounge.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think for me, it was always... I used to disassociate a lot as a kid.
Really?
Completely. And, like, you know, doing that thing of, like, thinking you're in a music video, especially if the weather was, like, rubbish. It was, like, you know, pouring down with rain and there was, like, drizzle. I'd always, like, follow a particular raindrop, like, down the car window, just stare and, like, sing songs or whatever and just zone out.
What sorts of music were you into at that sort of age?
Gosh, everything really, because the thing is, when you're a kid, like, what your parents are going to listen to, that's what it almost like you're just sort of dictated to, you know? It's like, you know, when, like, you're in the car with your mum and dad, like, I think it was just always, like, any sort of, like, power ballady station, easy listening. That's what my dad was into, and a lot of, like, classical music. But then we listened to a lot of high life, which is, like, Ghanaian pop music, because also, like, the further you'd go in to South London, you'd pick up, like, local stations, like local pirate stations. So, like, I don't know, 1 second it would be like UK Garage, and then it would be like the local, like, Ghanaian community station, and then it'd be like Classic FM, and then like Smooth FM, or like Kiss, or Radio 1, or like
such an eclectic
whatever.
mix.
So I kind of absorbed it all, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think most of those stations at that time, I'm thinking about all those sort of, like, easy listening stations that my dad would love. I think it must have been some sort of, like, Celine Dion moment.
I was literally about to say.
Or Whitney. It'd be like Celine, Whitney, or Mariah.
Yeah.
It's one of the holy trinity of those sort of, like,
proper big
classic,
belters.
Yeah. And it just, or Toni Braxton, like, Break My Heart.
She was mega.
Yeah, any of those sorts of tunes, I would just be, like, you know, in my feelings, not knowing any of those feelings, but being like, ah.
Yeah, it's doing something to me and I don't know what's happening.
Exactly.
You know, when you said that you would think about being in your own pop video, would you be the starring role? Would you be the singer?
Yeah, I would be, 100%. Oh my gosh.
Can you sing?
Oh, no. I like to sing, but I can't sing at all. Absolutely not. But I think we've all got main character syndrome. I think it's been made worse by social media.
So true.
We've all got main character syndrome, baby. You just got to lean in, accept it.
Yeah.
No.
And what was little Clara like? Were you mischievous? Were you ambitious?
I was a little bit mischievous. Like, I think everyone thinks they're a weird kid, because I think kids are weird. I think I liked that about being a kid. Well, looking back now, I think I liked that about myself. I was, like, really chatty, but then I quite liked my own company as well. And, like, I was a little daydreamer, and I was a chatterbox.
Liking your own company is quite useful when you're a radio DJ, I would imagine.
It's quite a solitary job.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I forget, like, how many millions of people I'm speaking to, because essentially it's just me in the studio. And I've got my production team, but even that was challenged, because, you know, even like the pandemic, when we were in the proper thick of it, my job was really solitary, because I can have my producers in my radio show in the room with me, because usually there'd be, like, you could have anything up to, like, 6 or 7 people in the room.
Yeah.
But then with social distancing and all of that, for, like, the first, I think, year of the pandemic, couldn't have my producer in the room. We'd always, like, hug and say hello. Couldn't do none of that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have any guests in. Everything was done, like, online. And it was a very weird experience, because I'm so used to, you know, walking into, like, a bustling office, everyone's there, walking into, like, the studio and just, like, high-five people, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why the listeners are so vital, because at least you've got someone to chat to.
It's so true.
You know?
we are close, aren't we now?
We're in Brixton.
And Brixton Market, right?
Because I'm seeing the Ritzy Cinema, and I was just here the other week with one of my dear friends, Kieran. We went to see that movie, Rye Lane, that's set in Peckham.
Okay.
And actually, they filmed a lot of it in Peckham and in Brixton, funnily enough. I love Brixton.
And so this has been a very big part of your life, hasn't it? Brixton Market. Like you said earlier about your mum coming, or you guys going to the market and getting your foods and stuff like that.
I love Brixton, and I think it's just got a character to it, you know? It's like every borough and every like town has got such a distinctive like personality, and I think there's nowhere else like Brixton in London.
No.
You know, I think the beautiful thing about Brixton is, you know, it is the second Jenners and like the first Jenners of like, you know, the Windrush kids and people that make it, you know, what it is. It's that thriving Afro-Caribbean like community that give it so much like flavour, you know, and like vibrancy. And I think it's really important for, you know, Brixton to hold on to that, because, you know, like, as we know, like gentrification is a wild beast, and of course, you know, you want areas like to develop and to be invested in, but you don't want it to be at the detriment of the people that, like, you know, built the community, because that's the thing. Anywhere up and down the UK, anywhere that's got any sort of like, in my personal opinion, any like coolness and just intrigue around it, and like, even that. See, look, coming, like, you see the Ritzy Cinema. Happy 20th birthday, street passes. Thank you, Brixton, for like loving us. These are the people that make a community what it is, and they need to be cherished and protected.
What would the market have been like?
The market, I've got always super, super busy, because I think one thing about Brixton, like Brixton Market for me, that is like a very sensory thing, is like the smell of like fresh meat.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, my mum, that's where it always goes, straight to the butchers around like Cold Harbour Lane, Electric Avenue, all this area, because my mum would just go and get like loads of lamb, chicken, goat, to make like traditional like Ghanaian meals. That was our thing. But then there'd also be like people with like their sort of like pop-ups selling already like made meals. And I'm seeing that more actually, because obviously, you know, that sort of like pop-up culture is definitely more prevalent like now. And now you're seeing like people do like, oh, you know, my mum taught me how to make this dish. I'm from this country, and like now you can like, you know, get a little box of like of food takeaway and like that. And that wasn't as prevalent when I was growing up. So that's like really cool to see. Yeah, that's definitely the thing. Like driving around here, it's just it is that smell of just like nicely cooked food, but also like raw food. Just feeling the busyness.
Yeah, the vibrancy and
feeling the busyness, like, for sure. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Brixton quiet. Because even when you're walking around at like 2 or 3 a.m, people are coming out from like clubs, bars, whatever. And obviously Brixton Academy is here, which is such a formative part of my, I mean, it still is, you know, I can't even tell you how many gigs I've been to there. And every single artist I interview, you know, especially the ones who like were brought up round here, like that is, you know, their mecca of like, I need to play there. One day.
Were your very first gig memories, are they from around here?
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm trying to think about who one of the first acts that I saw, because I keep ticket stubs from pretty much every gig that I go to. Like,
do you?
No,
That's
I've got like shoe boxes, like full of ticket stubs. Even though like we can get things on our phone, where possible, if I can get a physical ticket stub, I'm keeping it, because like, you know, I'm quite sentimental.
But you touched on the fact that your dad passed.
Yeah.
That, I imagine, was obviously pretty tough, and something that I know has come up since. And I wondered how you cope with that, but having to still be the upbeat Clara Amfo for the shows.
I speak about my dad often, and I did go through a point of thinking, should I not speak about it so much? Because I think the thing about doing any sort of like public facing job, especially in like broadcast, once you say something or you put something out there, people are always going to want to talk about it, and I get that. And I think I don't ever want to shy away from talking about death, because one thing that I've learned, you know, since my dad passed, is that I think we're making progress as a society in the UK, but I think British people have still got a very conservative way of dealing with death still. I don't think it's necessarily there's shame around it, but I think there's just an awkwardness. Like, people don't really know what to do. you know, and it's like, listen, we're all going to die whether we like it or not. Like that's just life. And I think when it came to my dealing with like bereavement, it was an interesting one, and it's something that I'm still sort of trying to unpack now, really, because, you know, I remember when my dad died, I was literally back to work a week or 10 days later. Wow. And the thing is, like, radio were amazing with me. They were like, the duty of care was great. They said, look, you take off all the time you need. But I think I was in so much shock. Because I remember I joined Radio 1 in 2015, and I remember I got the job offer, and I remember I was doing this photo shoot for a magazine that was sort of like, you know, announcing my new role, and like, you know, here's Clara, she's taken over from Fern, da 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 da. And at that shoot, I had literally been talking to my dad that day, and then I was going to France maybe a couple of days later to run the Paris Half Marathon, because I found out my dad had passed away when I was in Paris, and he knew about me getting the job at Radio 1, and then he died. And then I was back on air a week or two later, and there were times when I was doing the show, you know, in the months after he passed, where I'd be fine doing a link. So I'd be like, okay, up next is Little Mix, and then I'd just be sobbing uncontrollably, you know, like under the desk or like at the mic, and then I'd have to be like, you know, suck it up and then carry on. And again, looking back now, I'm like, bloody hell, Clara, like, you should have allowed yourself, like, more time and more sort of patience with yourself. But it was such a new experience to me. You know, I've never experienced like death like that. Like I had a friend who passed away when I was a teenager, but until that point I hadn't experienced like a close death like that. Yeah, it was a weird experience having to kind of like switch on the old razzle dazzle when I felt like I was just, you know, like crumbling. Yeah, but I think that is very symptomatic, I think, of what British people do. It's so embedded into like our way of thinking. Like, you know, think about the slogan, keep calm and carry on. You know, obviously that's like used in wartime, but I think we apply that to so many things.
Yeah, we do.
For anyone like listening to this, if you're going through bereavement, my advice would be you've really just got to let yourself like feel like everything. You really have to, because I never pretended not to be sad per se, but I do wish I sort of allowed myself just to sit with the pain and like just the news of it all for like a little bit longer, rather than just chucking myself into activity. But then at the same time, I think going back to work and having that routine kind of saved me as well. Like it's a double-edged sword, to be honest. And everyone's process of dealing with death is so different. And the thing I always tell people as well is that you don't have to get over it. I don't believe in it. Like you learn how to deal with it, and I think that is fine. That's something that I do advocate for, like learning how to deal with it. But you never have to get over it. You can't like. I think it's such a bizarre ask of somebody to get over somebody who lived a whole, full, rich life. You can't just click your fingers and it's like, oh yeah, like they were never there.
They're there in everything.
But that's it.
For most people, they're there forevermore.
That's it.
And it's more for the other people around you, I think, that you end up having to like make out that you've got over it.
Yeah.
Because other people can't deal with that
100%.
level of grief.
100%.
What's it like being interviewed rather than interviewing?
It's nice like to kind of have a day off, just jamming in the car, you know. But yeah, I don't mind it. Like I like talking to people. Like I'm interested in people. I'm interested in the choice of the questions people like have for me, because I know what it's like to like try and construct an interview and obviously like there's all different types of interviews you can do. Like because you know I do radio, and like some of the interviews I'll get 4 to 5 minutes with like somebody, but then, you know, I might do like a film premiere and I'll get maybe 10 minutes, or I might do like a long form interview with like an actor or whoever, and then I might get half an hour with them. Like it really depends, and like you adapt your skill set for like different people and like situations. Sometimes like you're live, so you've only got like sometimes even a minute to like, right, get this person, ask them this, boom, like you're done. And it's highly pressurized.
Yeah.
you know.
And you have those moments where like, what? Why did that come out of my mouth?
Yeah, exactly.
I had one question.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
did I choose that one?
Exactly. Oh my God, yeah. The amount of times I've been like, Clara, you absolute idiot. Or just, did I really say that out loud? And yeah, because adrenaline, like a mixture of like adrenaline, like natural nerves, like, you know.
Exhaustion.
Yeah, all of it can affect how you do your job. Because, you know, you can go in with the best of intentions, like, I'm going to smash this interview. And then like, you know, sometimes it doesn't go the way you plan, and sometimes that can be really, really good. Like, because even though I like to have a structure of how I work, I also enjoy knowing that a conversation like can go anywhere, which I'm sure you know you experience all the time, like doing this as well. It's like, yeah, you have your plan, but you never know where chats are going to go, and I think that's the novelty of it for me.
Completely agree. Do you think that you are? Is it people that you're curious about as well as, obviously I know, you know, we haven't spoken enough about music, and we will do, but is it people and what makes them?
100%. I think I've got equal love for sort of like equal curiosity about people as much as I do like, you know, any like arts and culture, whether it's like music, theatre, you know, film, like whatever. I'm just interested in people and why we do the things we do, why we're into what we're into. Like I love the word curious, because essentially it's more chic way of saying like nosy.
That is so true.
It's just nosy, but make it chic.
I'm really nosy.
Yeah, I'm nosy as fuck. Like I am. Yeah. Like, people are interesting, man. Like, it's just, you know, even like driving around now, like, you know, like there's a man I'm seeing there like with his like shopping trolley and whatever, and I'm thinking, I wonder who he is. I wonder where he grew up.
Yes.
Like, I wonder, like, if he's got a partner. Like, I wonder what he does for a living. Like, you know, what's been his day to day. Like,
I do love a good people watch.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's just like we're fascinating creatures, you know.
Like, you've touched on the fact that obviously, you know, when you're in the car and your passion for music sort of started there, but where did the thirst for making it, I guess, more of a career come from?
I remember I went to a trip, I think it was the Science Museum or the Design Museum, it was one of those two, and there was a radio station and they set up this whole like, make your own demo thing. And I remember thinking like, this is so fun. And you basically just got to like, say your name, like introduce a song, and they'd give you like the demo back on like a CD of like the branded like station and like with your name on. And I remember taking that and thinking, oh my God, like this is so cool. This is it. And I'm thinking like, yeah. This is what I'm going to be doing. I need to be doing this, just chatting. Yeah. And like playing tunes. Yeah, this is what, okay, you can make a career. You can have a job like doing this, like absolutely. Because I love so many things as a little kid. Like, you know, I loved sport, but let's go back to what we were saying. But like when you're a little kid, like you've just got the most beautiful sense of ambition, because like you're just like, no, anything is possible. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Did your folks like ever guide you?
Do you know what? Not really, because like my dad, like he was a microbiologist, so he was very intelligent man. Like, you know, for him, like in a medical like research joy way, like COVID, he would have been having a field day, like because that was literally his vocation, like, you know, studying sort of like viruses and like tropical disease, like all of that. So we spent a lot of our times in hospital as a kid. Like I remember like some days I'd like go and hang out with him in his hospital, and like it'd be like by like the fridges like full of like blood and like samples and stuff, because he'd just be in his lab working, like sit still, don't touch anything, look at and like play with like would play with his stethoscope and things like that. But my dad was super academic, and my mum isn't necessarily the most, like, she's not like a academic, but very much sort of like, my mum's like, you know, she's been a dinner lady, she was a cleaner for like, oh my God, 20 years. But yeah, like they just wanted us, all of my brothers and sisters, sort of like, you know, ideally have maybe like a medical profession, or you know, something in law or like pharmacy, like all your traditional sort of prestige jobs.
Yeah.
You know, when parents just like, my child's a doctor.
Yeah.
Or my child's a this, or like da 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 da. And like none of us, we're all creative. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, apart from my sister. My sister works in food tech, but like all of us. Like my brother Andy, like he does voiceovers. You've probably heard his voice on things actually.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. He's on bloody everything. I can't escape him. It was actually one really awkward moment. And I was just like, what? Like my brother, he did a voiceover for a very well-known company that sells like sexy toys and sexy things for people.
No.
And it was my brother was on the voiceover, and I was just like, I literally can't deal. Go away. But yeah, we all do like kind of creative things. The great thing about parents was that in an ideal world, we all would have done, you know, those sort of prestige, like academic, scientific or whatever jobs. But there was never a thing of like, if you do something, you know, outside of that realm, you're not welcome in my house. It was never that. And I'm really, really appreciative of that. But my dad's whole thing particularly was very much like, okay, if you're not going to do, you know, one of these sorts of professions, then you got to make sure that whatever you do, you make sure that you're going to be like the flipping best, or you like don't do it by halves, like commit and do it like properly. Otherwise, what's the point? So I think that I definitely carried like with me.
That sort of competitive spirit.
Yeah, but in a sense of like, not even like trying to compete with anybody else, just sort of like
competing with yourself.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's funny because, you know, I was on Kiss FM before, and obviously Kiss is like, you know, that's a very reputable station. But it wasn't until I joined the BBC, and my dad was like, oh, okay, all right. And then like, I think I was a guest on like a Radio 4 show or something, and he was like, I see. Because it's those sort of things, like it's like, for example, like me doing Strictly, and I'm someone who's like, you know, I've sat across like Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Ariana Grande, like whoever. I did Strictly, and all of a sudden my mum and like all my auntie friends like, oh wow,
now you've
like,
made it.
Yeah. And like it makes my imperial. Like it's funny, isn't it? Like what people perceive as like the thing.
Yeah, was Strictly fun?
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It was wicked. Like, don't get me wrong, it was like physically, like emotionally, like intense, because like it's just you're like in this bubble, you know, because you just eat, breathe, and sleep, like dance, training, performance, whatever. But it is honestly the most it is the most fun thing I've ever done.
Can you still remember the dances?
Oh yeah, no, honestly, it's so funny. Like the way muscle memory works is so interesting, because like, I remember my first dance was to Dua Lipa, Don't Start Now, and I still remember that choreography like that. It's
so
mad.
If that comes on the radio, you're up.
Oh no, I still remember it. Like sometimes I have been at things, so I'm like, go on then. I'm just like, don't threaten me with a good time, because I might just do it, hun. I might just do it. Oh, what a lovely day. This is Tower Bridge. I'm based in East London. Sometimes I'll walk from home to here, so I've got a few mates who live around these sides. It'll take me about an hour and a half, but it's such a lovely walk. Yeah, the sky is blue.
Sky is blue. Does the weather affect you?
Absolutely. Yeah. We are literally mammals energised by the sun.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes all you just need is it's that vitamin D, man. Like, but I'm such a summertime like baby. Like, I would rather be too hot than too cold, which is why I'm living for these heated seats in this car.
Yeah, agreed.
That's my joy, or just frolicking in my local park.
What is your mood lifter music?
That is a great question. What is my mood lifter music at the moment? I love Salon. I mean, do you know what? I'm obsessed. I mean, everyone knows I'm like one of Beyonce's biggest fans, and that Renaissance album, I've been rinsing it because that came out in July of last year, and I've played that album every day since, and it just gets me fired. I love it. It's excellent. All killer, no filler. Yeah.
This is a colourful area.
Yeah, we're in Brick Lane now.
Nice.
Yes, Brick Lane area. It's all white. We're in Whitechapel, really, but it's all connected. So there's a really big, like Bengali and Bangladeshi community around here, and like so you can get great like South Asian food around this area. But again, this is why I just, you know, like I love like London, because you know you just get a lesson in other people's cultures, like borough to borough.
Yeah. Do you feel the restrictions from your fame, or are you still able to go into the market?
Do you know what? I live a normal, because my whole thing is, I've always said this, you're only as famous as you act, I think. Obviously, there's nuance to everything.
Yeah.
But if you're like walking around in a cap and sunglasses on a day where you don't need cap and sunglasses, if it's not sunny,
you're highlighting yourself.
If anything, I'm like, oh, why has that person got a cap and sunglasses on? Like, are you quote unquote like somebody? But usually people are just, oh, it's Clara, you're right, how's it going, cool? Or do we go to school together? Or like, why do I know you?
Yeah.
Or like, da-da-da. But it's never a thing of like, oh my God, I'm getting chased down the street. But I think, yeah, again, you're only as famous as you act. And I think if you caught it and you do the most to like fan the flames, I think that's when you get into a tricky situation. Like, I would sooner die than bloody call the paparazzi on myself. Because please believe it, baby. Sorry to I believe it's really important to tell the truth. And listen, I hate to break it to anyone who's listening, but you'd be surprised. And you may or may have to cut this bit out, but I don't care, I'll tell you the truth. But the amount of people who call the paparazzi themselves, my God.
Yes.
You would be shocked. And people are like, oh my God, we should perhaps leave you alone. Your publicist called them and told them that you were going to be outside this cafe with whoever. And they act like you didn't know. Like,
so true.
Oh my God, what are you doing? You knew they were going to be here. Like, you can't do that and then be like, oh my God, the fame.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if it ever gets revealed that I called paparazzi myself, please use this interview and be like, Clara, you hypocrite and you idiot.
You heard it here.
Like, and I'll say that with my chest. I will never do that as long as I live. I'll say this, Adele is probably one of the most famous women on the planet. When that woman is not releasing music, do you ever see it?
No.
Do you ever see or hear a peep from her?
No.
Exactly, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice, you know? But then there are some people who are relentlessly pursued and they don't have a choice. Again, there is nuance to everything, but it can be, there is a way to control it. So I just think, don't, you know, like, you don't have to lean in, you know?
So we're just
have a peaceful life, yes.
The Genesis Cinema.
Yay!
This is where you come.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite cinemas. Like, I love a cinema that's just got character to it. And if there's one thing a cinema trope I adore is old school.
Yeah, it looks old school.
Cinema lettering for like the signage.
Yeah.
To let you know like what's on. Like just how like you know, the Ritzy in Brixton's got that style. I love that about Genesis, and they're really good at doing sort of like good like one-off nights and like themed months and things, which I think is really cool. But like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy like your sort of big chain cinemas, and I'm not adverse to a reclining chair and being able to like, you know, eat and drink like a cute meal in a cinema. But there is something about, you know, just those really preserved.
Is it as old school inside as well as it looks outside?
Yeah, and obviously they've adapted and stuff, but it's I just think, yeah, just that lived in energy. I don't know, like I like imagining like who was there like 50 years ago. One of my favourite things is going to the cinema like by myself, and I've had to, because I'm planning to go and see the latest Scream movie on my ones, because none of my friends will go with me to see it. I really, really enjoy them now. I like, my mates will come to cinema with me to see like a rom-com or just a com or an action movie or whatever, but I was like, what happened to all of you lot? Come on, like, get some, is everyone like, but yeah, everyone's a scaredy cat. But yeah, funny enough, like when I wanted to go and see Magic Mike, all the girlies wanted to come. I went to see Magic Mike's Last Dance at the cinema with a few mates. Actually, just with one mate. And that was hilarious, and we laughed and sighed the whole way through.
Do you have a lot of fond memories of going to the cinema or watching films when you were younger as well?
Oh yeah. Like, so it's the thing. My mum always used to fall asleep in cinema. Yeah, no, I loved going to cinema as a kid. Loved trying to get into films that I wasn't old enough to watch. I remember I went to try and see it. I can't remember what film it was, but it was a film. I think I was 14. It was 15. My mum had that perfume. It was called Poison.
Oh yes.
My dad had bought it for her as a gift, and I think she'd held onto the bottle for like 20 years or whatever. And like I doused something because I was like, yeah, this is what teenagers do. They wear fancy perfume and wear like button-up shirts or whatever. And like I remember me and my friend, I think it's what's it? I can't remember who it was, but I think me and a couple of school friends, like we were like, yeah, we're old enough now. Just like, no, you're not going home. I was like, okay, bye. But yeah, but again, those are like formative things. Like because it's just about independence, isn't it? And I think there's something about like going to cinema like without your parents.
That's so
It
true.
makes you feel like a proper grown up, or like going to like the local, like going swimming. All those, or like getting a train by yourself for the first time. They're rites of passage, aren't they?
Yeah, they are
You
really
know?
important.
Yeah, proper.
So we're being taken through Shoreditch.
Yeah.
Do you know this sort of area?
I know
so
this
much?
area extremely well.
Okay.
Like the back of my hand. This area, I cycle through a lot, pass through a lot. Got a lot of good gig memories here, and just nights out really, and like late night food stops. Because like there's so many kebab shops here that I've definitely gotten like a falafel wrap from, and like chips.
Is that a go-to
in the
at
middle
the end of the night?
Oh yeah. Definitely. Like chomping down chips at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. Your journey to starting at KISS was quite unorthodox, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I'd always had an interest in like broadcast, but for a little bit I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work behind the scenes. I don't need to put myself out there. And looking back now, it was just a fear thing.
Yeah.
Because again, it wasn't, going back to the thing about like that almost reverse imposter syndrome. 'Cause it wasn't a thing of like me not thinking I wasn't capable. I think I was just afraid to put myself out there.
Yeah.
Even though I knew I was capable, I was a bit like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. So I just didn't. I was like, you know what, I'm cool. I'll just help out the marketing like intern. So I was helping out doing everything. So I'd go to like Ministry of Sound nightclub and like scrape off like the KISS branded stickers that we'd put up there the night before for like the club nights. Give up merchandise. I'd stand outside like the big top shop RIP on Oxford Street, like trying to stop people to get vox pops to use for like the station, like in-house like adverts, all those types of things. But I always knew that but I'd love to like be able to like do the radio bit, and I was always like having these sort of like sparring matches with my old boss, like, why don't you play this song? That song's like so out now. I'm like, why are you doing that to this? And like, you should be doing this and da 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 da. And so eventually, like one Christmas, he was like, for God's sake. And then he was just like, look, this person's like gone away, and this person's got a cold. So do you want to cover this show on Christmas Eve? And I was like, oh
Wow.
my God. I was like, yes. Sprinted to the studio as soon as I got the chance to be honest. So Christmas came around and I covered some shows, and they were pre-recorded, but the first one went live. It was like Saturday morning, like a 4 a.m. till 6 a.m. slot, and I was so buzzing on adrenaline. So I set my alarm probably for like 2 or even 1, because I think I was so paranoid I was going to like sleep through my alarm. And then got to the studio, and then my old boss Simon, who'd really sort of like mentored me, like produced the show. And I remember thinking like, yeah man, this is absolutely what I'm supposed to be doing. I love doing this.
Were you nervous?
Oh yeah, I was shitting myself. I was so nervous. But I enjoyed it so much that I just wanted to come back and do it and just learn to be better.
Yeah.
And it was such a great, it was just such a great feeling.
And were you then like, that's it?
Yeah.
That is, I'm in. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, no, I just remember thinking like, because bearing in mind at that same time, I was still working in the office like Monday to Friday, because I had been promoted from sort of like work experience intern to be like, they gave me this job, bless them, they made up a job for me, and it was like called station coordinator. But doing that, honestly, it was invaluable, because it really gave me a work ethic which I really cherish. Because when you understand like how the sausage is made, you see all the working parts of a radio station or any sort of like any workspace, but particularly like radio, TV, when you see it like that, you just it almost gives you an armour from sort of like being a brat, because you just know the moving parts.
Yeah.
We're in Camden right now, and the houses are beautiful around here.
They really are.
So lovely.
Do you think that London is a pioneer for music and new music?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Like, I don't think it's the centre of the universe for it, but like it's absolutely 100% a leader. So much. We're in Camden, you know, which is, I think when I think of Camden, I think of Amy Winehouse. Like there's a whole statue of her here, you know, but like there are so many iconic like leaders who have come out of like London for music. But yeah, like zoning on an Amy, that's somebody that truly made it accessible, like, you know, like hip-hop influence, R&B influence, like just so cool and so unique and truly like a one-of-one artist. And that's like, you know, a proud like North London girl. Like I saw her at Coco actually, where we're going to. Yeah, I remember, because I remember being in the queue and seeing her walk by with her security and I remember her being like, wow, because she couldn't believe all these people had come to see her. And that was a really, really fun gig. And, you know, you look back on moments like that and you just realise how like privileged you were to see somebody, you know, of that ilk just being them, you know. Ultimately, who she was just like a really like great artist, and you could tell she had a lot of pride like performing at somewhere like Coco, because that's somewhere where she would have no doubt been going to as well. But yeah, that was a really special gig. Yeah, memory unlocked with that one.
So we're outside Coco now.
We are outside Coco, and yeah, this is I just literally remember like just being in a queue and it curling round to get into that print show, but then there's been times I've just been able to like walk straight in because I've been at a gig early or whatever. But yeah, it's such a fab venue, and you know they had that fire a little while ago.
Oh yes, of course.
So obviously it's been like renovated now. But yeah, it's just iconic, you know.
So we're on our way now to Broadcasting House.
Yeah, yes we are.
The world of Radio 1.
That's it. Portland Place.
What was the feeling when you knew you were making that step up to, or step over, I guess?
Bit of fear. Fear, excitement, overwhelmedness. Because I remember when I first like demoing for Radio 1 when I was sitting at KISS, and they're like round the corner from each other, and obviously it was top secret, so I would sneak. I'd finish my work day, or during a lunch break, I would sneak around the corner to like Broadcasting House and like try and go in the Radio 1 and 1Extra building like incognito, hoping no one would see me, be like quietly ushered in by like a producer, do my demos and like run back to work. And I remember I did that on and off for 18 months on the sly.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think I did about, oh my God, 8 or 9 demos, and then they finally offered me a contract for weekend breakfast at 1Extra. But yeah, I remember when you walk into like, the main concourse, there's that giant like BBC sign. You can't miss those like 3 huge letters.
Yeah.
And seeing that for the first time, it's a lot, because even now, like every day when I'm going into work or leaving work, there's always tourists out there like getting like with their selfie sticks, like getting that BBC picture.
So do you still appreciate that feeling?
Yeah, I do, because it's you know, because like they're always decorating it like with, you know, all the people that work there, because you know when you walk into the building there's like a giant picture of like Claudia and Tess from like Strictly, and there's a giant there's a TARDIS in there from like Doctor Who, and like giant Pudsey Bear for Children in Need, and now there's because the Broadcasting House is 8 floors, so they've got on each floor they've got blown up pictures of like different staffs. Like there's a big picture of like David Attenborough and like Harry Styles from when he did like Big Weekend for Radio 1, and there's a big picture of me there, which I didn't know they were putting up there. So I think I'm in between Harry Styles and David Attenborough, which is great company, I must say.
That's an interesting sandwich.
But yeah, I remember I didn't know they were doing it, and then like one day I kept getting tagged in pictures on people's Instagram stories. Like Grimmy had tagged me in something, Greg, all my co-workers basically like, what the hell, look at you. And I was like, what? And because I didn't know they were doing it. And there's like my big old mug. If you ever come to visit Broadcasting House, and like whether you're a BBC employee listening right now or you're coming in for a tour, yeah, I'm there on the 7th floor in full Technicolor.
How do you prepare for the live show?
I do prepare, but I also like to shoot from the hip. I have a basic knowledge of people, and then obviously we've got our research notes and stuff. But for me, my favourite interviews are about the human side of somebody. because ultimately that actually tells you more about the music. If it's a music artist anyway, you know, you can find out about the album, why they made it, how they made it, sometimes by finding out about what's been going on in their life, like 6 months prior. But I love my producers because they are always mega, you know, prepared with like a glossary of like bits and bobs. But for me, that's and I always do my research as well, but that's my preferred way of working, for sure.
Well,
we're here.
Here it is.
Pulling up to the old Beeb.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Shane, who is a very well-known radio plugger dude and looks after all of your faves. Hello. Was just talking about you, saying long time no bloody see.
Oh, it's lovely to see you. How are you?
You've been missed. You all right?
Yeah. Just going to do something on the BBC in a bit.
Oh, fabulous. Well, maybe I'll bump into you in a bit. Well, nice to see you. Bye, my love. But because that's the thing, pandemic-wise, you see all the pluggers like all the time.
Yeah.
They bring artists in, but then the pandemic just changed the game. And like, we did so many things. Like, remember I did a Miley Cyrus interview. We had to record it 10 p.m. our time. So we were on her time in LA to get the show done because, artists, it's just, Corona changed the game, man.
Wow.
Really did, but no, we are home, we are here.
Well, it's been really fun. How has it been taking a nice stroll around
It's been really lovely. And I want to thank you for your very insightful and wonderful questions. Because people ask me a lot the same thing a lot of the time.
Yes.
But you know what? Sometimes you can ask the same thing, but it's about how you ask it. And I really appreciate your choice of words, darling. I truly do.
It's been a real privilege to have you, and I hope you liked our match.
No, I did. Listen, living for the heat seats, living for the chat, living for the general like comfort and the snacks. Thanks for the snacks.
Thanks for the snacks.
No, good time.
I hope you have a good show.
Do people call you Al?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to call you Al earlier, but I was like, is that over familiar? Say thanks, Al.
How do people call you?
People call me.
Have you got a nickname?
Clars sometimes, but it is mostly Clara or C. So yeah, C, Clars or Amfo.
Clars.
People do love to surname me a lot.
Yeah, I get surname a lot.
You know?
Well, Amfo, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much to Clara Amfo for taking me on a personalised tour around her favourite haunts in London. You can see exclusive footage of the drive by heading to the Auto Trader socials. Look at the episode page for links. You'll also be able to see the Mustang Mach-E that Clara thought was very cool. Plus, if you didn't know already, we're giving away a brand new electric car for free every single month as part of the Auto Trader electric car giveaway. We've previously given away 2 Mustang Mach-E's, just like this one, plus many others. So if you'd like to be in for a chance of winning, head to autotrader.co.uk/cars/electric/giveaway and find out what we're giving away this month. And if you're looking for a new vehicle, you can find your perfect match at autotrader.co.uk. This is a new show, and I'd love you to follow on your favourite podcast platform. Like what you hear? Rate and review, and make sure you tell your friends so you don't miss an episode. Show on the Road is a Fresh Air production for Auto Trader.